Evening all. Can they hear me? Well, it's showing mics going on. Hey up, Scooby, how you diddling, fella? Had a good day? Hang on, see if I can focus this in better. Even I think I look blurred. Might not be a bonus. Might be better seeing me more blurred. Oh, good job. Is Super 4 the Triangombe? Pretty sure it was. Super 3 were Triang's era, I think, if I'm right. Yeah, it is. Triangombe era. Good score. And well, my next annual leave, I'm going to get the wood I need and finish off my boarding for my layout, get some brackets, fasten it together so it's level and sturdy so I can pull it out and get to the back to lay. I'm going to use flexi track for the rear, like Pico flexi. Going to use that and make all the rear part. Then I'm going to have to work out the front part. I'm only going to have 4 lines at the back. I may need one line that I can cross back on, because there's one or two trains I'd have to cross on me junction. I'm planning. So I want to cross back when they go back to the back scene. Should be fairly easy, he says. Yeah, so have you got I take it you've got a Super 4 layout then? Are you building one, Scooby? All right, cool. What's the difference? It can't be a lot of difference to Pico, unless it is a little bit bigger. I remember Super 3, there were a massive difference. Super 3 were really deep for the flanges on stuff like the princesses and stuff. But yeah, good era for stuff like that. Ah, cool. Yeah, it'll make it up good. I guess it's not getting easy to find it in good condition nowadays. I'm no expert, but I'd have I'd have a guess Super 3 would probably be easier to find in good condition. Yeah, today I've been no, because it was metal back then, weren't it? Not the zinc. So yeah, you have to make sure it's in good condition. I've been messing around mainly with pugs today. Pugs, not drugs. Yeah, I've put video up. I've done one of the original Caledonian pugs. Yeah, I got it a while ago, and it were in decent condition, but that it had a break in the lining at top of the boiler, and it really bugged me. And I thought, no, I'll get a better one. And that body popped up on eBay, and all the lining's complete, the lettering's good, and the plates are good on it, everything. So I thought change it onto the decent chassis and put it in the box. Job done, nice original pug. Because I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, in the Caledonian livery, it was the first livery the Caledonian pug appeared in when it were released. I'm pretty sure it was just the Caledonian blue livery it was released in. Oh, that sounds good. I love the Class 40. I'm a big fan. I've done a lot of rail miles in the cab. I even cabbed both ends, the Great Train Robbery one, because that ended its life as a Newton Heath loco. Then it got cut up at Crewe. But I must have ridden every Class 40. Well, they were Newton Heath locos, but they were actually allocated to Longside. So I cab route. I've even been down in the nose of one when it were moving. In the fire extinguisher bay. Because I asked driver what's down in nose. He said, go and have a look. 1970s. They didn't give a shit. Yeah, I cab rode hell of a lot of them. Did more miles than some second men. But yeah, great little loco. Well, great big loco. But yeah, I'd have to have a look at what some of the names were. The irony, I can't remember riding it. But I don't think I ever rode, were it 41 or 60 Captain Green? I think it was 41 or 60 Captain Green. I don't think I got that one. I must have got all the others. Yeah, I've ridden. I've ridden one or two in 70s. It was regular for DMUs to get flat tyres because the guard would leave the brake on. or it had set off and the brake were left on or whatever. But it were regular for DMUs to get flat tyres. But yeah, nothing unusual about them getting wheels turned. When they got too bad, they just heated them up, dropped them off, then put a new one on. But yeah, they were great. Great fun. I've ridden on some bad ones on the DMUs. You'd be going down the line and they'd be going ba-dunk, 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 ba-dunk. You're like, Jesus, what have they done to it? Yeah, they were a rough ride when they'd had a bad flat on them. I've walked through engine room when they've been running as well on a 40. My dad were on one night. As a guard, it opened up, and as it opened up, it spat the cylinder head of rocket cover out through the roof. They never found it. Had to recover the loco. Yeah, the cab ridden a lot of the Cravens as well. Yeah, they were old buzzes. There's been a nice restored one running at Bury today. I've not been down to photograph it because it's a nice job and beautiful job, but it's rail green, so it's not really my era. I remember them in the blue. Besides which, they run DMUs often anyway at East Lancs. They do it at times. It's coming up to time of year they'll be running them at Christmas for shoppers and that, because it's near Bury Market and you get people who will have a ride on the train or will have a ride down for shopping on the train. It goes into the town centre, so you'll get them from Rammy, Rottenstall, places like that. So they run the DMUs, so it's cheaper. So I have the option when they're running, I can go down during the week. But yeah, me dad, I've got it. Where is it? Can I see it from here? Give me a minute. Mentioning the Cravens 105. I've got a letter here. Where's photograph for the company, is it? Yeah, hang on. Here we go. That's my old fella getting presented with a certificate. I still have it here, I think. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I put it in an envelope. I'll just have a look. Well, maybe not. Maybe don't have the certificate anymore. But there's a letter for it. You'll probably have to read it backwards, but it was on a Cravens 105 DMU, it set fire, the oil and everything, on the engines on its way from Blackpool back to Manvic. And he managed to put the fire out with driver. So the pair of them got awarded, I think it were a tenner. Yeah, he got awarded a tenner for putting it out and stuff. So, along with driver. So, yeah, save some rolling stock. And to be fair, I've got the numbers there of the rolling stock it was, and I don't know. I'll have to check it alongside the preserved ones. I doubt it is, but if the numbers coincide with the preserved ones, it's one he saved. Good evening, Valleys. Oh, bloody hell. Which sort caught fire at Cardiff, Valleys? A tenner were 2 nights out back then, Scooby. A fiver could get you 10 pints of bitter in my local pub. So a tenner could do you 2 nights. Easily. If I didn't want to get drunk, like. Oh, bloody hell. Bad, or did they manage to get it out, Valleys? I'm having a guess that you're about, what, off that price? I'll go for 57. At a guess. Greetings, Mick. How the hell is it in Ireland? A year or 2 years, Scooby. 3? Bloody hell. Yeah, it's not been a good one here, Mick. That's partly why I didn't venture out. It's had a fair bit of precipitation. Yeah, not so far off me. Mine was 81 when I was getting it for 50p a pint. But it were in the shonkiest joint in town. You wiped your feet on your way out. But I were full of character. I think the one I went in was a Wilson's pub, the Earham Scarum, which were a local brewers. Well, local-ish. If you went in an Oates's house, it would probably 45p a pint. It's an acquired taste, is Oates's bitter. There's only really us locals like it. It's strong and it's loopy juice. Not the best tasting bitter, but it does the job all right. Yeah, I looked at it a couple of times, Mick. I've still got raindrops on window yet. So I've not ventured anywhere. Yeah, they do some nice stout, nice beers, Oates's. All right. How badly damaged were it though? Did it gut it or did they get it out? I don't drink as much as I used to, Mick, I have to admit. It'd be a it'd be a pretty hard job to drink as much as I used to nowadays. Because I'm running an house. Oh, good job, minor damage. Tell you what, at work I spill half my food on myself nowadays. I'm sure I've got an hole in my bottom lip. Sure I've had a piece of piercing. Can't tell. But geez, I tried to manage to make a shirt last 2 days and I never can. And you'd think it would be because of what patients did, it's me. Soon as lunchtime comes, I can have salad and spill something on me that stains. How does that work? Anyway, we not far behind me sometimes, Valleys. Yeah, anyway, I'm getting a new uniform in New Year anyway. After last week. Well, it's the same uniform, but they're changing the wording on it. Same company, but the wording underneath's changed. So we're getting all new uniform. Great. Just means I'll have twice as many tops as I have now. Yeah, I have. You'll have to get one of them tankards, Valleys. You know the tankards with a moustache thing on them? They have a moustache thing moulded over the top. Molten hops. I don't, I don't know now. I think I'll have to have a look this week. I might be a bit late to get it done now. But I sometimes brew my own beers. I can brew a keg of beer for Christmas. I think I'll be a bit late now, though, to be honest. Although I can G it up a bit, I've got a heating belt for it and a heating mat. Dodgy Gandalf. It's funny you should mention that, Valis. I have a friend and he's a Lego addict, and he's just bought the Hogwarts castle, and he's built it, and there's one of the wizards in it. And I looked at him and I said, "What the fuck's Gandalf doing in bloody Hogwarts?" He just went, "Paul." Oh God, I don't have that problem. I don't have that problem, Scooby. It's a bit of a pain, really. It's a bit. Well, I say it's a bit large. It gives me a nice area for a layout, but it all needs cleaning. And I'd rather half the time I'd rather be doing something else. Ain't gonna lie. Hi Andy, you alright? Yeah, I resemble that remark, Andy. Yeah, Valleys, I've got it all under my kitchen sink. I've got stuff for doing wines, beers, all sorts. I'm thinking of doing a still, but I believe that's illegal, isn't it? Apparently. I might buy one of the small Italian ones, stills, because over in Italy, you're allowed to brew as long as it's only a very small amount for personal use. Yeah, very true, only if they find out. I had an Irish friend one time when I lived over Levenshulme, and they were my neighbours, and her husband over in Ireland, he brewed poitín. And she said, "Do you want to try a bit?" I said, "Does the Pope shit in the woods?" I went, "Damn right I do." And she gave us some more fantastic stuff. Bathtub gin. Yeah, the gable end off. Ironically, I'm on the gable end. Don't be saying that shit. My kitchen's on the gable end. So that is a likely occurrence. Suppose I could always blame downstairs. Says she's always up to shit like that. Yeah, but it was many years ago I tried that. Good stuff. And I've had a couple of purchases off eBay this month. I've got a kit built local, which is an A2, and it's numbered as Dante. So I've got smoke deflectors for it, waiting for them to arrive. And I've bought the name plates for it. You can't actually see the name there, but they're Dante. So that one will become Dante. I bought an American loco, and it needs handrail and pilot repairs. So at the same time, I bought some chain for doing in the middle, for detailing. Now that I can believe, Valleys, because that's where they got the name from, for gin, Mother's Ruin, because there were that many people in London drinking it, and London women used to use it for abortions. Get that pissed on Ucky gin, they miscarried. Oh, bless him. Bless him, I know. I had a welder one time, a mate, and he used to install metal doors and stuff, and he wound the girl up in the office. He said, "Can you go down to stores and ask them if they've got any fallopian tubes in?" He said, "I need some." He said, "I need some to get this job finished." And she went down and asked the storeman, and he said, "Just give me a minute." And he said, "I knew it were you." He said, "I had to close the door because I was going to wet myself laughing." That BL spoilt that game, Valleys. They actually brought a colour out they called tartan. So in the mortar trade, if you ever got sent for tartan paint, they brought you back a tin of BL red. It's scary. The smoking ban killed it. All the people that turned round and said, all the normal people that complain and did everything, like the people we have now. They were saying we'd go out drinking more if there weren't smokers in the pub. They never went out, they never ever went out after they said they'd do it. All the smokers moved on. They thought, well, I want a fag with me pint, I'll do it at home. So you get mates go around each other's houses, have a cig and a pint in their own house instead of supporting the local economy. Whilst all the Billy Big Balls that said I'll go out if they stop smoking, they still stopped at home. Typical case, and this is what's happening now. They're pandering to a small minority that says they'll do something. Then when they do it, the majority get stopped from doing it, and it kills what were paying the big majority of the money. It's like TV licenses. I've got rid of telly and won't pay a telly license because of all the woke stuff on it. I'm paying the BBC, and the BBC has to be the crappiest station on the TV now. They've got rid of Top Gear, they've got rid of the Grand Parade, they got rid of everything, and nowadays they have Holmes Under the Hammer repeats every 5 minutes. They have Attenborough, and he's not got long left in him. Once Attenborough falls off his perch, the BBC will be nothing. Because the news channel's just false information. I'm not tuning in to watch Bell Enders anyway. That's for sure. Or for that matter, bores the nation straight. YouTube is gradually Mick, but you're getting them on YouTube that are trying to censor stuff now. You put a slight thing in a... When I first started using YouTube many years ago, it was a battleground. You could abuse people, insult people, swear, and it were a free-for-all. It was like the Wild West. Now, I agree with some of it to stop the worst of it, like personal and that stuff, but you can go too far, and that's what they're doing. Exactly. It had fallen into the ground, nobody had visited it. Because unfortunately, no matter which way you look at it, when I was young, if you were a smoker, if you were a drinker, you were a smoker. And there were a very few that just drunk on its own. There were very few that just did that. In the day, pubs, there was a relaxing time and a, how do you put it? They were a community thing. You met people from your own community, you chatted to them and stuff. That's all gone now. They're not community thing anymore. Our biggest percentage aren't. You're just there to get pissed. Or in the daytime, if it's a Wetherspoons, it's somewhere for pensioners to go for a cheap meal and keep in the warm. Yeah, it does make. Oh, God, bloody hell. I've slashed in many of them. That's where the Cher song come from. Well, I'm walking in men's piss. Yeah, they tasted awful, them pineapple cubes, Scooby. Don't know where they got the pineapple cubes from, but they were rank. Yeah, they always had them in, didn't they? The pineapple cubes. Oh, brilliant. Oh, Scooby. Your granddad must have been a legend. Oh, God. Things you do when you're pissed. Yeah, the old pubs had far more characters in them. Well, far more character and far more characters in them. I don't go out drinking now because in the main they're full of jerks compared to the old pubs. Oh, that's going to get me for a bit now, Scooby. That's tickled me, that has. I can just see your granddad. Whoop! Wait. Wait, what's his called? What's his name? Him on the green grass. The old farmhand. He was funny when he got his new teeth. Oh, gross! Oh, bloody hell, valleys. I've been up when I went across to Ireland. I went on the old ships, the ferries, and Jesus, we got a rough crossing, which the Irish Sea it's renowned for being rough. And I were a kid, I were running up and down the deck, loving it. And I were running past people, and as they saw me running past, they were going, "Ugh." And my dad goes, "Come over here and sit down, you little shit." Run past it. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant fun though. I loved it on that ferry. One of me vague memories of one of me vague memories from being a young kid, running up and down the bloody Irish ferry when it were in rough seas, and it were rough. It was. Me mum weren't that bothered, and me dad weren't that bothered. It'd have been a bad do if me dad were bothered, though he were ex-Royal Navy. Mind you, his ship didn't move much in rough seas. He were on one of the big battleships. Yeah, when it's rough, Mick, it's rough, the Irish say. It's a rough out sea. Ugh. To be fair, Vallis, my dad said that when he recruited in World War II. They actually asked him, they said, "Can you swim?" He said, "Why, have you got no in ships?" Yeah, I've done that from, we mind France or Belgium. I forget which. I came back from either France or Belgium. And the ship went up and it dropped and my feet were off the ground. I must have come a foot off the ground on the ship. Then I slapped back down when it came back up again. My out fella Vallis, during World War II, a fleet air-arm pilot offered to take him up in one of his battleships, walruses. And he turned round and says, "Are you taking the piss? I've seen you fly." So he didn't go up in it. And he said later on, he said, "I wish I'd took him up on it now." Never heard round what it's like round that way, Valleys. I can believe it. There's a lot of rough areas. Definitely is. Dad did a lot of them. But his main routes, he did the Atlantic food convoys. But the main area he was in was, he did India, South Africa. They had a beaver, really, when you think about it, because when they were in port, they used to get shore leave. And they used to go into Durban and all over the place. He said he loved it when he were in Durban. He said the American Navy were there more often than not. So the Americans and British could have a fight between themselves. The American shore patrol came round, beat the Americans up, threw them in back of the jeep, and turned round to the British lads and said, "Have a good night, lads." Left the Brits alone, just hiked the Americans in. Yeah, I can believe it, Valleys. Yeah, how much that'd be worth now to get up in a swordfish. I've lived near Moss Side. I think I'd rather do the Bay of Biscay. I was walking home from a concert one night through Bay of Biscay. Somebody asked directions, grabbed me ties and drove off. Fuckers, good job it were a clip-on tie. That pissed them off. It dragged me a bit, then tie come unclipped, and they were halfway down the road thinking, now what? The only, the only thing Moss Side has going for it is it has McEwen's Brewery there. And I don't even drink any of that now. I think they brew Foster's there nowadays. I might be wrong. But yeah, Moss Side used to have a big brewery there. But there's not a lot else going for it. You just use it as a quick entry road from Manchester Airport. From Manchester. Pays to. That's true. Scoobies. I used to drink it all the time. I like lagers, just for a refreshing summer's drink, though. generally speaking, I prefer, if I'm on beers, I prefer having, like, what do you call it, real ales and stuff. That's true. That's true as well, Valis. Yeah, I dread to think how many weapons there are in Moss side. I think somebody one time were over this way near me one night, testing out a machine gun. They tested it out on an old nightclub. Wow. Nightclub's been demolished now because the nightclub, it were in middle of nowhere next to a canal and stuff. And when it closed down, it was just a shell of a building. They burnt it down, then they went down using it for a target range, testing machine guns and stuff. It's like the Wild West sometimes. But yeah, you could see it was funny really because you went down and when you went past on mountain bikes, or if you had a walk, you could see the line of machine gun holes across the render. You thought, oh shit. Yeah, it is compared to New York. I've not lived near there for a while and not heard reports, but I shouldn't imagine it's got any better. I think the police just probably avoid it nowadays. I think at one time they used to try policing it. I think they've give up now. Just drag the bodies out when it happens. Oh, brilliant, Scooby. What do you play, Scooby? Because Mick in here plays keyboards. You play bass, Mick plays keyboards, Scooby. I've tried picking up guitar, but it's hard work. He's a very good keyboard player, I'll tell you, Scooby. Very talented one. I learned today, another one of my friends. I didn't even know he played. He plays piano. And rather good too. He was playing one of the old Motown ones. Yeah, we all do a bit of that. Well, yeah, it's amazing you can know someone for years and then you suddenly find out they're a good pianist and they never even mentioned it at work when I was working with him. Yeah, he was damned impressive. But one of them things, it's funny, isn't it? Worked with him with disabled patients and never said he was musical and could play the piano. He was good friends with, what were a name that died fairly recently, Motown legend. He were good friends with her, and I can't remember her name now. But she were a Motown legend and died not so long ago. Into Northern Soul as well, I think. Oh, cool, Valleys. No, she wasn't that famous. She went, although, to be fair, not far off. Mind you, there's another singer I know, and he posted a photo up of him the other day with another legend from Northern Soul and what do you call it? I'm trying to think of her name. She was Mark Bolan's girlfriend who were driving the Mini who were killed in. I'm trying to think of her name now. But my friend was pictured with her last week. She were over here and he got his photo with her. He's good friends with her. Trying to think. No, it wasn't Twiggy, it was a black girl. Yeah, that's. Sorry, we've all cracked that joke, Alice. No, it was. She was a black girl that were driving. Mark Bolan's girlfriend at the time, and she has a lot of links with a lot of famous American artists. She's written with them or performed with them and stuff. I'm trying to think what's her name? I'm going to go and have a look now. Just looking. Yeah, that's it, Valley's Gloria Jones. Spot on. It was Gloria Jones. That's the woman. She was over in my local time last week. Hey off, Mick. See you later, buddy. Yeah, I'll catch up with you during week, Mick. Good having you in, pal. No, tatty pie, Mick. Tatty pie. No, that were her name, Gloria Jones. She's done a lot of writing for American artists. They don't like it up on. Jeez. Tatty pie. Take care, fella. I'll just be 1 second. Chat amongst yourselves. I'm getting a drink. Ow. Ooh. Oh, back again. Oh. Yeah, exactly. It's me getting up valleys. Oh, I'm not getting any younger. And it done help. I nearly lost a leg in a bad bike accident. So really, I can't grumble. They actually saved me leg, so I can't grumble too much that it's sore. I could have had no pain and like Oscar Pistorius or whatever. I don't know how I'd fit in there because I don't think I'd shoot a girlfriend. What? Which one's the thumbs up? I'm not even spotted it. Oh, at the top where there's three. Well, yeah, I could imagine it would. They'd have motorcycles, valleys. Yeah. Ironically, the one I had my bad accident on was a 500 and it was stolen not long after. So I thought, sod it, get a 600, got a bigger bike. I've sold it now, though, about 3 months ago, maybe more. I thought, I've had enough now. I'll not get on it again. You shouldn't laugh, but the shit we've done on bikes. My mate were riding a KH 250 triple and he rode it up the chuff of the car looking at a bird. He said, I was looking at this bird's ass. Then I turned round and there were a car stopped in front of me. Oh, shit. Shit. Jesus. I quit. I'd never really hit a car apart from, well, I have, but I've got away with it. I ricocheted off the front of one down a side street that turned into a side street in front of me. And another one went across front end of it. But apart from that, I've never really hit cars on. Yeah, I think scraping my memory, I think you did, Scooby. I was lucky and I thought before my luck runs out, I'm getting too old now. I flogged it. I thought I'm too old. I'm nearly 60. I'm too old to be riding a 600cc bike like I were a teenager. My reactions have gone down. I'm not as strong as I was. Takes longer to wheel if you do crash. If you're going to hit something, it's a push. If you're going to write something off, ride it good enough. So what have each of us been doing this weekend? I think I've already got valleys. I might be wrong. Or Scooby. Anything else interesting this weekend? I've done rock all apart from my pug video. Oh, were it any good, fellas? Were it a good one? I could do with another model show, to be honest. I went into me. They have a model at my local museum that's part of the ELR Preservation Society. And they got the model from my local museum. And when it were in my local museum, it were all correct. The guy that had done it were an historian. You had all LMS types, and you had the LMS units, the electric units the LMS had. They had LMS tank engine types, LMS main engines, and then our local preservation society got it. That's meant to be like knowledgeable on railways and stuff. And they've got Great Western tank engines in the goods area. A Great Western tank engine had never got up here. They'd have been changed like a little 060 Great Western tank. They'd have been changed out for an LMS type. They wouldn't have come up this way. I never say anything's impossible, but it can happen, but it's highly unlikely it did. Deal that, Valleys. Nice deal. I were having a quick look at your layout the other day again. I don't know whether it were an old video or recent one you've published. I'm going to get on with mine now. We're getting into colder weather. Start chucking up my last baseboard, then brace it together and everything so it's sturdy. Then start laying the track. Then once track's down, I can start thinking, well, work out how the track's being laid to coincide with scenery. Because I'm going to have to do some artistic licensing to get it in, because it's a real location. I think the one I have's a Murritt one. Everybody had the Murritt one with a tank. I think it's a ratio water crane. Let me have a look. Mind you, if you're collecting triangle, the triangle water crane, isn't that the one they used the arm off for the turntable if you use the turntable manually? That actually became part of the Hornby range. Just have a look for you. It may still be a current model. Let's just have a look. Triangle water crane. Yeah, Triang water crane. Let's have a look if I change Triang for Hornby. I'd imagine they used the same mould. Let's have a look from the side. Yeah, there's a sec. Back again. Oh no, forwards. Oh, be double or no, that's... It's similar, but not quite the Hornby, I think. Let's have a look. Typical, the part I want to view can't view proper. No, yeah, the Triang is different. It's a nicer moulding, to be honest, the Triang. Yeah, the Triang water crane's a bit different to the modern. It's different moulding, so it's very similar but different. Yeah, so if you're going for original Triang, it is different. But having said that, it's probably from the same moulding, but they've altered it. When they've needed to do work on it, they've probably upgraded it. We normally did that with footballs back in the day. There you are, that's something else you need now, Valleys. Need the loading gauge as well now. Just when you thought you had everything. And just having a look in here. Just having a look how video's doing. Shut up. Don't want to listen to myself. Just want to go on the anaglyptics. Not doing too bad. For when I loaded it, not doing too bad at all. I tried loading at different times to see what effect it has. I try loading at night, try loading in the morning, try different days. The weirdest thing is, you think the best time would be on a Friday evening or whatever, but I've actually found one of my best videos that did the best. I loaded on a Wednesday. Yeah, it's an interesting little thing, Valleys. Interesting little loco. I've read up quite a bit about it, and I realised that with a Smoky Joe. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's surprising how far the pugs did get, but the LMS had I wouldn't say a bigger region than Great Western Railway, but it were a lot longer because it were from right up in Scotland, up to top of Scotland, right down to London. So it was quite a big network, the LMS. LNER was on the other side. It was odd. I mean, I never ever asked me dad. I know my dad would have travelled on LMS lines, but he must have been on LNER lines because my mum were from Scotland and he dated her. And he went backwards and forwards from Manchester up to Edinburgh. So he can't not, and it were during the 40s, like mid 40s. So he can't not have joined, he can't not have missed joining on, start again. He can't have missed travelling on the LNER. So he's quite possibly been owned by A4s or A3s or whatever. Yeah, quite possibly, but I don't think it'd have been a regular thing. It would possibly a sporadic thing for certain trains. It is surprising how far some of them did get. But the worst thing I found was the patrons of the museum. They paid a fortune to have it rebuilt, modernised, and they made it into one of these clinical modern museums. And they said, we only want things with links to local history and stuff like that. Then they kicked a load of stuff out so they could store the Union of South Africa there. An A4 that probably never even visited our area. Wow, that's interesting, Valleys. I didn't think you'd have got gencies in that neck of woods. You'd have thought if they were going out far out like that, Did he use bigger locos? Yeah, I can believe that, sadly, Valid. At the moment, there's no certificate on it or anything, so it's not running. And the owner, I believe the owner's, he lives up Scotland and he's built a shed for it on his own land. So it's going to be stored in a shed on his own land. So nobody gains from it. Nobody's probably going to see it. Unless he opens it up himself. Oh, that's interesting, Scooby. Didn't know that myself. So that's quite far into our area. Yeah, very much up into our area, that. But yeah, I mean, I've even seen photos of my local station with a Midland Pullman in. God knows, that must have only been a one-off. But it's been in my local station at the East Lancs Railway, where their station is now. I've seen photos of the Midland Pullman in there. Oh, interesting. You'd have thought they'd have got that way on. You'd have thought they'd have got down to valleys. Like I've not been on the Great Western's rails that often. Don't get me wrong, I have done it because my brother lived in Pontypool, so I've visited my brother at Pontypool, and I've been down to Newport and stuff. Yeah, that's correct. That's what they stood for. It weren't only on the 8FC, the valleys. They had them on the Duchesses and others. I forget the reason why they had them on them. I think it may have been that the chimneys. Yeah, I know it's the catenary valleys. I forget the reason why it were, whether it were the height of the loco that the chimneys could touch the catenary, or that they could get close enough for it to work at least. And earth, I don't know. But yeah, the Duchesses were included in that, right? I think Royal Scots were, and Patriots and stuff. Yeah, that's what it'd have been, Scooby. Flash over. Close enough for the current to work, especially if it were damp. Yeah, most locos in them days, the steam locos, they had the yellow stripe through the numbers on the cab sides, so they didn't work south of Crewe. So they didn't go under the wires. There was a lot of LMS locos with that on. Yeah, it is indeed. Although, to be honest, if you're north of Crewe, it's always damp. Mind you, Wales ain't much different. Both always damp areas. Nice. Excellent stuff. Last one I saw with them. Last one I saw with them were one flipping heck. Keighley and West Valley Railway. I saw one running. He were in a grey livery, grey USA livery. Looked similar to a photographic livery. Yeah, quite possibly. I think Keighley and West Valley Railway are known for having is it 2 or 3 of them? Of the big ones. Yeah, I've been stood next to it on the platform when it set off. It were doing a wedding day I saw it. And I think the bride were getting a go on footplate. Or the groom, wedding party, whatever. Yeah, I think they had them both at Keighley Valleys at one time, or Keighley may still have both of them. The big beasts, anyway. I'm surprised you don't see more foreign steam locos on preservation lights. I don't know whether it's still on, but there's I think it's an 060 loco on eBay for sale. I think it might be Poland or Eastern Europe somewhere. It's a nice little 060, to be honest. Probably need a lot of restoring, but if you one off making parts and that for British ones, I'm sure it's no different to making them for Polish and Eastern European, because they had some nice locos there. You know, it's sad. They have a sad existence, people today. Thank God I grew up the days I grew up in. As a kid, I used to work at my old local preservation society, and I used to fill the bunkers up steam locos, and I'd be all over them, on top and everything, cleaning and polishing them. Nobody batted an eyelid. They just walked past and say, "You be careful up there," and they left it to your own discretion to be careful. Nowadays, I don't know. I think there's a dumbing down of society, personally. Yeah, I've walked through Dinton as well when Leander and Bahamas were up there. It were a lovely little place, Dinton. I loved the little Jacobs petrol engine they had. Yeah, my dad, we working for British Rail, one of my second homes at one point. We Newton Heath shed, so I were always walking in between 25s, class 40s. I were looking at the Rolls Royce engines out of the 110 Coda Valley sets. Like I were all over Newton Heath shed as a kid. Looking at everything. I even used to go down pits looking at them underneath. I don't think it was a prosecuted thing, Scooby. I think they give you more leeway, trusted you more, because they knew you had more common sense. They knew adults supervised you. Half of the kids now, they're feral. And if the parents do have anything to do with them, it's somebody else's fault rather than their kid. They used to say to us, behave yourself, or I'll give you a slap. And you went home and told your dad you'd had a slap for something, and you'd get another. Kids now think that's a lie. You tell them that now, they don't believe you. That, to some degree, that's true as well, Valleys. I ask me employers at the moment, because we live next to a farm, we've got a rat problem at the moment. And I said, can I buy a Virac and some night scopes? I said, come round and have a bit of fun. They said, no, they won't allow you. I said, well, I said, my method would be kinder. I said, I'd see them off instantly instead of them waiting days to die. Happy days. It weren't a great deal, were it, Scooby? I worked on railways and I got free travel when I were on railways. I just used to take my staff card. You got free travel in the UK and you got discounts abroad. I hope they weren't pet mice, Valleys. Wow. You know, most areas at one time used to have a triangle reverser somewhere, but on the East Lancs Railway, there's still part of the triangle left. The actual bit where you swerve round to go up to Haywood is part of the triangle. Fondle your rodent. Oh, that means press your mouse. Yeah, bloody hell. Yeah, get a rat pot shot in the head, they just go, eat. And they always twitch a bit afterwards. It's funny, the shock when they first hit, they don't do anything. And you think, well, they have been killed outright. But it's a second or two after and they start twitching. I think the body, it's shock and not knowing what's happened. Then the nerves kick in. But yeah, get a rat with an headshot and it happens nearly every time. It'll go still for a couple of seconds, then start twitching. So if there's a blue flash from one of the little holes in your skirting board, you know one of your mice has been fried. I'll never forget my sister's cat. She had a, what do you call it? What's the name for it? Like, pacifist cat. I went in one day and I looked at it, and it stood away from its food bowl, and it's not going for its food. And I'm like, what's up with that thing? I'm going, what's up with you? You've had new food put in, get your food. And she's looking at the food, then looking up at me. Looking at the food, looking up at me. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And I bent down and I looked in between a water bowl and food bowl, there were a mouse's tail sticking out. Little field mouse. So I grabbed its tail, pulled it out. Mouse looked at me. I put it outside the door, run off down the cobbles into fields. And then the cat just looked at me, went, thank you, and started to eat its dinner. I thought, what on earth are we giving you food for? Yeah, I've done a couple myself, Scooby. Some of them, though, they're at plague level, some of them rat infestations. It's definitely entertaining video. I like the ones where they pop one off next to its mate, and the rat's there looking at its mate thinking, well, that's what went on there. And it's looking at it, twitching and dying, and it's sod, it carries on eating. Then they shoot that one. Oh, they tickle me then. Yeah, they do pigeon ones as well, because occasionally they get pigeons. And that's just as amusing, because you'll get one who'll get shot, then another will pop its head up and go, what? And then he does that one as well. Like, Dave, where have you gone, Dave? Bang. But yeah, it does tickle me. You can indeed, Scooby. They have some nice rifles on that, though. The Virax and the BSAs, some of them have are still nice. I used to have, I think it was a Diana 177. I used to use my brother's BSA too. All good fun. I borrowed a mate's one time, a little 177. I forget the main name of it. It was an American gun, a paratrooper. It was made like a Tommy gun. And it were okay, but it weren't as good as British rifles. The old British rifles were far better, especially before they hadn't cut the power down. If you put an oxbow, were it an oxbow spring in, or oxblood, strip it down and strengthen the spring up. Bit harder to cock, but Jesus, didn't have a fair crack to it after. you were getting, once you up the spring and everything, you were getting not that far behind bullet gun power. Especially if you compared it to a weaker 2.2 rifle. You were getting close to that with your 2.2 with an uprated spring. Oh, yeah. They do tickle me, some of them, when they go, pop their head out and go, what's going on? Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they were a good band. Like, they didn't particularly ban them, they just downrated them so much that if you had them, you had to have a downrated one. And they weren't half as good. Like, I mean, even though them lads, they're hitting them and they're killing them at reasonably close distance, with the older rifles, if you'd hit them at that distance, they'd have took their head off. You'd have made a bigger mess than they do. Especially the old 2.2s. Yeah, that's it, Valleys. If you have any sort of gun now, proper firearms, you have to store the bullets away from the gun. It's that extra bit of security. If anything happens, the bullets aren't. If the gun's stolen, the bullets aren't anywhere near it. Oh, we all used to do that one, pinging the insulators, and we had them. Where we lived, we had a pylon in our back garden. Well, not a pylon, it was a telegraph pole, but they were still insulated. And we used to fire up at them, and you heard them ping off. It was great fun until one day, my mate shot one in his back garden, and he just heard woof, straight past his ear, nearly had his ear. And he stopped shooting them after that. He went, sod that for an idea. Well, I wouldn't know where to get them now in my area. I'd probably get the 2.2 pellets at my fishing shop, because we still have a fishing shop. But where you bought your air rifles and all your gun stuff, our local sports shop has shut down now. Yeah, you have to do. There's so many things you have to do now. I've had friends who used to have guns, and I've had friends who had shotguns, and the law's changed so much now. So there's a key events in. There's a pilot that describes the way things happen as the Swiss cheese effect. He says what you're doing is the less places the holes line up on a Swiss cheese, the less chance there is of anything getting through. Yeah, I don't think I'd get away with coming home with an air rifle on train, Scooby. And I have a mate with a car. I might see if he fancies going over and buying a rifle one day. See how that goes off. Because I do fancy one for ratting, and I know if I go, I live out near farms, so I know if my farm across road, I could ask him if I could do ratting on it. If I get a gun and a scope. Because he rents out to horsey girls. So they'd appreciate it if rats were kept down. I'd be looking for something old. Mind you, even old's probably cheap dear now. I never buy new. But yeah, the thing is with air rifles, I'd imagine so many from when I were a kid ended up in police stations taking care of them for you because you've been caught where you shouldn't have been with them. Because I had a few mates that had the guns confiscated off coppers. I can believe it nowadays, Valleys. Yeah. Hey, that 1972 track, though, I bet that's not cheap now. I bet that's going up. I have noticed, though, because I've done model railways for years, say at the end of the 80s, into the 1990s, Triang stuff. They went to a point where some of the stuff were fairly expensive. And you look at it now, there were a full train set, the Midlander, in mint condition on eBay. Back in the mid-90s, that would have gone for over £100. And it's not selling for £60. I can believe it, Scooby. A lot were probably broken by kids. What weren't has either rusted or been binned by now. It won't be easy to get hold of, I shouldn't imagine. Now that I can believe, fellas, because not many would have bought fourth radius. And I'd imagine what we bought of fourth radius went on to layouts and was probably pinned and glued down with ballast. So a lot would have been damaged getting it up off the boards. So I'd guess fourth radius, there wouldn't be a lot survived. And in train sets, I don't think, like third radius is a norm in train sets now. But back then, I think second radius were your norm in train sets. If I remember rightly, weren't it, valid? Back in them days. I might have to use. Well, I'm saying I might have to use. I'm using flexi tracks, so I'm going to try shuffling round it. So maybe my fourth radius with flexi track is a little bit wider because it's on 4-foot board. It may be a little bit wider, I don't know. But I want to fit 4 lines in it. So I want to get, if I can, squeezing it and pinching millimetres. I want to get the inside radius, possibly to more towards second radius than first. Well, fourth radius, you need a minimum of 4 foot wide. I think I'll just get it on 4 foot boards. But I won't use fourth radius. I'll be using flexi to make the near the equivalent of fourth radius. Well, what I'm doing, my theorem, is I'm going to measure my boards, and I'm going to measure about 2 foot inwards from the centre, from one end, at each end rather. I'll measure 2 foot inwards, then 2 foot from the side into the middle, and where they cross, I'll put a drawing pin in, then sketch round with a pencil to give me the radius, and that should by rights give me a fourth radius. Then tuck it in and see how close I can get with the next one without me intercity Mark 3s touching. Then another in, then another. Just make sure the intercity Mark 3s don't touch. Then anything else I have will be shorter than that anyway. So that'll be my longest piece of rolling stock. Yeah. It just, but fourth radius is just 4 foot wide altogether, isn't it? Say if you did a circle, a fourth radius, its diameter is 4 foot, I think, round about there. 6 foot will easy do it, but I'm talking pinching inches. Yeah, she might have something to say about it, Scoob. Might have something to say about that. Often do, wives. Yeah, I'm just looking. It's coming up to an hour and 50. I think I'll cut loose in a bit and go and get a bath ready for work. So the girls don't have to put up with me stinking. There is always another patio. Bloody hell. Be getting, what's his name? Be getting like Fred West. Oh, you shouldn't. They said to him, "Hey, Fred, do you fancy a pint of Foster's?" He said, "No, I prefer Tennant's." Shit, you can't tell jokes like that nowadays. bit tricky, bit tricky when you're on a first floor flat. Yeah, the flat downstairs starts to complain. Oh, valleys. Oof. What was his name in bloody, what do you call it? Fritz will learn it. Jesus, the stuff he kept secret from his missus. If I were married, I couldn't even get a loco in the house. He'd built a cellar and had a bloody family down there. Don't know how that worked, so I don't get it. Surely the wife must have noticed something. I don't buy it. You can. Yeah, Austrian bloke. They would. I tell you, Scooby. Other blokes can sneak all new lives in front of the behind the missus. They can have other women and everything. If I come in with a Series 1 Airfix model kit, I'd be rumbled. The all-time champion, in my opinion, was a guy in Germany, and he managed to keep a World War II Panther tank in his basement, and he only got rumbled when he brought it out for a drive. And he brought this World War II Panther tank, he brought it out, had a little drive in his village, put it back, and somebody made a complaint to the authorities. So they snatched it off him because he weren't really allowed to have it. Well, he probably nicked it, technically. He'd probably thieved it during World War II when the Germans left it behind. He probably tucked it in his basement and bricked it in. But all the villagers turned round and said, it was no secret he had it. They says, he used to drive it round in the 1970s. So what does that say about today's society? Today's society would grass you up as soon as look at you. Back then, they just went, yeah, fuck it, he's got a tank. Nobody gave a shit. Not quite sure if he had the ammo for it. I don't think he had the ammo. It'd have been interesting if he did have, if he fell out with neighbours. Yeah, I think he still has it. He's a famous YouTuber. He's been in arguments with police and all sorts. He drives it round with a Union Jack on him and on it and everything. Don't give a shit. He had an argument with a copper. He says to this copper, I'm coming with you under my own duress, he says, because if you tried to make me, you wouldn't be successful. He's actually a funny chap, and but yeah, my brother's done that in the 1970s in a stalwart. My brother used to drive stalwarts occasionally in Royal Artillery, and they were on exercise one week, and he drove it into a petrol station down Salisbury way, filled it, then said put it on the MOD. What a chap. Keith Mooney was one on his own. We used to have, near me, There were two. It weren't the famous one near me. This were another guy that did one. But we had an electric milk float that was converted into a V8, and he'd had a V8 engine, and he used the milk churn for a petrol tank. Yes, it's Citizen Smith belting. Hey, I'll tell you what, I was watching a scorpion display at an army tattoo one time, and it came thundering in the arena, and they hit the brakes on it because it were a light tank and fast tank, and it just came up on its nose like that, balanced for a second, then dropped back down. And when it hit the ground, the vibration of it, like everybody in the audience went up a millimetre. Fantastic, Scooby. Yeah, Keith Moon and that. Yeah, excellent. Tooting People's Popular Front. You know, that you could see where that series were going if you watched episode 1, and it's still one of the funniest bits of comedy I've watched. And it's such a simple thing. He's there talking to what's his name with, like, Wolf is talking to what's his name with glasses. What were he called in series? His mate that were always with him. He sat on the floor meditating, and Wolf is painting a slogan on a wall at the back of him. And you're just watching him painting this slogan, and you're not thinking about what he's doing until he gets to the last few letters. And it's plan ahead, and he's not left enough room for the last two letters, so he has to paint them underneath. I thought that's brilliant. Plan ahead. Yeah, parts of the people. That's the London accent, that, Valleys. It's like when you say, how much do Cockneys pay for shampoo? Painting. Well, you know, the decent ones, you don't have them now. You don't have the decent lefties. They're all the radical, all that's left now are the radical wankers with stupid, putting it bluntly, with stupid ideas. This is why we've got all this bloody, what do you call it? It, bloody him, she, all what they identify as. There's two things you can identify: piss off out me face. And that's what they are now. They're all radical lefties now. I mean, they weren't brilliant ideas when we were younger, but at least they made some sense. They had some good ideas for workers, but unfortunately, under Labour and stuff, workers abused the stuff. The workers started abusing the good work they had done. It were brilliant, Citizen Smith. And yeah, I see what you're saying though. Yeah, it's like I say, I put this now. You go on some people's channels and you can't do this, you can't do that. You have moderators and they pretend they're free. No, you're not. That's why I don't have moderators. Because they pour petrol on bonfires. Because all you need is you almost invariably find you'll put somebody as a moderator and they'll have a power trip and they start picking on little insignificant things. Then you have to back them up because you made them a moderator, even if you don't necessarily agree with what they're going. It's a minefield giving moderators jobs. People have made me a moderator, but I just keep out of it. I've watched so many good things go down the pan because of moderators. I've watched so many good forums that were on the internet ruined with moderators. Oh, I couldn't bring myself to do it with over Jane. Hanoi Jane. Traitor she were. Yeah, Jane Fonda definitely weren't one. Farrah Fawcett. Or Linda Carter. But the best one was Valerie out of the Carry On movie. She was gorgeous. Oh no, Mr. Ben. And suddenly the shopkeeper appeared. Hey, they weren't false, Scooby. There's some are, but hers weren't for sure. Anyway, on that note, I know we passed the watershed, but I'm shutting down now. Going for a bath, have a chill out and a drink, then get ready for work tomorrow. Joy again. Anyway, good night, folks. Take care over the week. Lovely chatting, and if I'm off next week, I'm in. If I'm not, yeah, I'm going for a bath. Oh, that's terrible, Scooby. Yeah, night, Valleys, night, Scooby. Great chatting. Night, Andy. I think you'll still be in somewhere. All of you take care, and if I'm in next week, I'll catch up. If not, like I say, it's sporadic because of work. If I'm working, I'm not getting home to 8:30, and I can't be arsed setting up and doing a chat after that. My head's usually fried. So, night all and take care, lads. Catch you next time I do a chat. Or when I upload a video. Tatty pie, everyone. Tatty pie.